Opinions expressed are those of the show's host, not WPSL or WSTU or EXP Realty. Any reproduction or reuse of this program without the written consent of WPSL and WSTU is strictly prohibited. And now, welcome to My Dream Home Radio Show. Your chance to find that dream home on Florida's Treasure Coast. Here's your hosts, Eileen Simons and Paula Brady. What's up, guys?
The market is really hot. Even though we're just the same week as Christmas, there are still plenty of people buying and looking. There are still plenty of people buying and looking for properties these days.
Yeah.
I brought some statistics today.
Okay, shoot.
These are the latest statistics through the end of October because, of course, it takes them a little while to compile after closings. So these are the latest statistics from the Beaches MLS, which is one of the MLS organizations that we belong to. Single-family homes, this is Martin County now. Single-family homes in 2020. For the month of October, 280 closed.
Wow.
As opposed to 209 in 2019.
That's something.
And that's just single-family homes. Condos, closed sales in October, 125 in 2020. And in 2019, there were only 90. That's a 38.9% change. St. Lucie County, single-family homes, are you ready for this? Single-family homes in St. Lucie County in 2020 closed 638. 2019 closed 512.
Well, fast-growing county.
24.6% change. Condos in St. Lucie County for October 2020, 162. 2019, 80.
Wow.
Almost double.
That's 102.5% change.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you see how much...
That is amazing.
Yes, see how much busier it is this year than last year. Median sale price for single-family homes in Martin County for October, $415,200. And 2019 for October was $380,000.
Big difference.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Condos, median sales price for October in Martin County was $177,250. And in 2019 was $160,000. So again, that's over a 10% increase. And then in St. Lucie County, median sale price in 2020 for October, $260,000. Last year in October, it was $237,000 was the median sale price for single family.
I'm not surprised.
Yep. Condos in St. Lucie County, $189,500 was the median sale price in 2020. In 2019, it had been $161,250. That's over a 17% increase. That's huge in 1 year.
Yeah, and if Dr. Jerry Parrish's numbers are correct, Port St. Lucie will be doubling in size. I think Mayor Orenbeck has hit it on the head, though. He disputes 2030 at 520,000, but he says by 2040 we'll be there.
Well, thank goodness they've been doing their homework for the last, many, many years in order to have the city in the position that it can accept all of those and be ready to accept all those new residents.
Yeah, no doubt. So, wow, those are impressive numbers, to say the least.
Yeah, very, very, such an increase. I mean,
Can't blame
I've
them,
not
though.
seen numbers like that before.
Yeah.
Can't blame them to move here because it's so beautiful here, and especially after the weather they've had the last few weeks up north. So,
What weather?
Right.
What weather? Yeah, nice to be down here. not have to deal
An
with
early
that.
white Christmas.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, my old ESPN camera guy in LA sent pictures. He had 28 and a half inches of snow in his backyard.
That's amazing.
Up in northern New York State.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's a lot. I wouldn't want to have to shovel it.
Yeah. Really? No kidding. Yeah. So what else is happening in your world?
So I wanted to spend a little bit of time today talking about the recommendations that we follow with our showings and our listings.
Yes.
These recommendations are from Florida Realtors, and we wear protective masks all the time when we do showings and when we meet with customers. We do sanitizing. When you walk into our office, you see several choices of sanitizers that you can use. We always take sanitizers with us when we are going on showing appointments. We social distance, and we limit the number of people coming into the showing with us. Lots of times, especially with younger families, you might see extended families that want to help them shop. We have limited those numbers this year so that it's much easier to social distance and have fewer people going through the properties. We ask owners to open all of the closet doors prior to the showings so that nobody has to touch the door handles while we're inside. We also put sanitizing and masks at the entrance for our listings so that if buyers and their agents would happen to forget them, they can certainly use the ones that are at the entrance to our listings and then dispose of them when their showing is completed. So that's pretty much the recommendations from the Florida Realtors. I can send this information out to anybody who would like to contact us through our email, which is mydreamhometeam@yahoo.com. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but it does have pictures and instructions for the 6 recommendations that I just talked about.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get the top camera on the two of you. Yeah, there you go. We got the backup there. Cool. That's
Yikes.
we need some gaffer's tape in here. That's what we need. Okay. All right. Perfect. I think. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, we'll get this. And it's interesting because we're learning the Zoom technology too. And if the people cannot see you, it's very difficult. And we learned this during the Christmas Kids when we had some Zoom things. And then, of course, Carol was in the corner and they couldn't see her at all. So it was like, hey, we've learned. Yeah, we're learning. Yeah.
One step at a time.
That's it. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's always progress.
Yeah.
We didn't used to have to worry about seeing you on camera, but
That's right.
it's a little different these days.
See you on the radio.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, that's how much radio has changed because there is really no more radio. It's multimedia.
Right.
And
That was what was amazing to me when I first started talking to you. I had no idea that radio went beyond radio nowadays.
Oh, sure. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've already gotten a couple of inquiries from parents in Russia. And, what's the one that the Biden son's in trouble in? Anyway, some students who are playing opponents of IRSC.
Oh,
They
really?
want to know if we're going to be broadcasting the games because those games are worldwide. So, it's oh yeah. So the parents are already getting involved, which is very cool.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
And that's a reason why we feel fortunate belonging to EXP Realty is because EXP Realty is built on a virtual platform. So Glenn Sanford, who was the founder, was very what's the word?
Forward-thinking.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very forward thinking. He always is. And when he started the company, in that he built it on a virtual platform. So when we go to classes, when we have meetings, we can be virtually, we each have our own avatar.
Okay.
And we can virtually meet with anybody in the world who's a member of EXP Realty.
That's great.
You can even be driving, and you wouldn't obviously be able to see, but you can listen to and be a part of the meeting anywhere that you are. So it really makes it easy to do your business that way.
So EXP is a national firm?
Worldwide.
Worldwide now.
They just opened in
Yes.
France and South America.
Mexico not very long ago.
Australia.
They've been in Canada for a while. I want to say I think we have 9 or 10 countries besides all the states in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
I didn't
growing
know
like
that.
crazy.
I didn't know that.
Over
Yeah.
40,000 agents belong to EXP Realty now. And they are just starting a new commercial division.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'm not sure about that right now, especially in New York City.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah.
But there are a lot of people and businesses in the other part of the world that want to do business in the United States or want to live here. And they have, we call them snowbirds here from up north that come here.
Sure.
But now there are people that are even in other countries that come here for the weather and then go back home. So there's a lot of activity in Florida from around the world.
Sure. We hear a lot about Brazilians.
Right?
Yes.
A ton of Brazilians buying property here in
Yes.
the USA.
Yeah, definitely. So anywhere in the world, Australia, England, Germany, there's a lot of activity here.
I'm pretty sure they just went into South Africa also.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So our reach is very distant.
Yeah. Well, not so distant, though, because of the internet. I mean, that's what's changed everything.
Absolutely.
So you guys video tour all of the properties.
Yes.
So someone, say, in South Africa can sit there and look at properties in Stewart and Port St. Lucie.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we can do those. We can send the tour to anyone who wants it, or we can personally do like a FaceTime video for them as well.
Okay. That's even better.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's even better.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Boy, it's changed. It's changed.
It definitely has. It's an exciting time to be a part of it, actually. So, because in my past, I didn't have this technology that I worked with, so I'm learning a lot. It's interesting.
I think we're all learning together.
Uh-huh.
Is what it amounts
Yeah.
to.
True.
Yeah. I mean, you figure we've been doing video here for, I don't know, since 2014 maybe. We have over, 1,500 videos on YouTube. But this has changed everything.
Yes.
I mean, the whole Zoom thing is
Right.
going to radically, it not only changed television news, it's changed our business as well.
Right.
So what else
And
have you
just a
got?
few more statistics before we bring Anita on. This is an article that we read this weekend. 45% of consumers say they'd move if the bosses continue to allow remote work. 45%.
Whoa.
That's a lot
Really?
of lot of people.
Yes.
Make it easier.
And that's not just a Florida statistic. That's a national statistic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I could see it.
That was the reason that we moved to Florida, so because my husband was able to come down here and work remotely he had a client that was in Northern Virginia, and he told they wanted to renew the contract, and my husband said, I'd be glad to stay with the contract, but I want to move. And they said, we don't care where you live, as long as you can handle it that way.
There you go.
So we
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great to come back down here. He was from here, and I had lived here in the early 70s, so we were glad to come back to Florida. So
That's cool. It's a great story. Great
Yeah.
story. All right.
So I'm hoping that we can bring Anita on now,
I
our
think we
special
can.
guest today.
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you guys today?
Doing great. Thank you.
Oh, we have to put our headphones on to hear you, Anita.
Yep.
Okay, still learning as we go.
Yes. Whoops, let me get them on there.
As she said, we're all taking baby steps.
Yes, good morning, good morning.
How are you?
Hi, it's so good to see you.
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation. It's exciting to be on the show with you.
Thank you. And why don't you tell our audience what company you're with?
Okay, I am with Chelsea Title here on the Treasure Coast. We have offices in Port St. Lucie and in Stuart. Our Port St. Lucie office is in St. Lucie West on University. We have a closing suite on US 1 in Stuart and some sprinkled closing suites around the Palm Beaches as well.
And I can tell you from personal experience that Chelsea Title and Anita's staff are very customer focused, and they are quick to respond to any questions that we have. So we've built a good working relationship.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. That's we're in the customer service business, right? Like title insurance is title insurance all day long and all night long. And it's the way the client feels during the transaction that matters. So we try to put ourselves into the shoes of the client every single time, whether or not it's the first time they're doing this or the 10th or 12th time they're doing it, just to put ourselves in their place so that they have a smooth, effortless closing with us. So thank you for that, Eileen.
And Chelsea Title is affiliated with what national company?
We are, Chelsea Title. So we have kind of an interesting story here on the Treasure Coast. We are the longest operating title company here in St. Lucie County. There's no one that's been here longer than us. We wrote our first policy in October of 1978.
Wow.
And we are part of Fidelity National Financial, which also makes us the largest. So it's kind of an interesting little mix. We feel very, very hometown boutique-y because we really are that involved with our clients and our community. But we have the strength of the nation's #1 underwriter behind us. We're a fully owned company by Fidelity National Financial.
That's excellent.
So how long have you been with the company, Anita? And what exactly is your position?
Here we go.
I know, it's amazing.
I know. So I am 27 and a half years at Chelsea Title.
With the same company. That's like so unusual nowadays.
Oh, I know. Well, I guess I got it right. I've seen
You started when you were 2, right?
Yes, Greg, yes.
We all did.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of changes in our industry. I've seen a lot of changes with my own company. My current role is business development manager. I've had many roles through the years. I am a licensed title agent. I have managed escrow staff for about 7 years of the local offices. I don't do that anymore. I have a wonderful business partner who is back at the office, just making sure all the escrow and operation is cranking along today. That's Monica Pritchard. So she and I work together as business partners in this particular branch. We have the ability through Fidelity to have a lot of entrepreneurship. They give us that latitude. So we really do run the business like it's our very own, which has proven to be just an element of success for us. So 27 and a half years. I love what I do. I am an instructor. I do some CE classes, continuing ed classes for the audience that might not understand that little short jargon, continuing ed classes for our realtors, and love what I do. I'm an instructor. I'm a licensed title agent. I think my most rewarding part of what I do is understanding what our clients and their customers need and being able to hear them and deliver above their expectations.
That's excellent.
And for the people out there that really don't understand what the importance of title insurance is, or maybe exactly what title insurance is, can you give us a primer on that?
Sure. So Title insurance is different than any other insurance. Any other insurance that you purchase is always going to be insurance that you're either paying for as you go and continue to pay premiums, or it's paid for insurance for advance. Title insurance is insurance that covers what happened in the past. So our job is when we have a contract and there's a buyer and a seller that's come together, they've decided on their dream home, and it gets sent over to us. Our job is to make sure that there are no liens, encumbrances, anything that could prohibit that new buyer from living in quiet, peaceful enjoyment on their house. And there are lots of things that we cover. It could be a whole segment all by itself, but we cover so many things. We cover fraud and forgery, missing heirs. But our job basically is to do that search on that property and make sure that everything that was out there is either cleared up or will be cleared up at the time of closing. So obviously every single transaction is going to need a deed, and we do that deed at closing from the seller to the new buyers. If there is an existing mortgage, we're not going to ask the seller to pay off that existing mortgage prior to closing, but we certainly will pay that off at closing. That's our job, to take that, receipt that money in, and then get that money back out to the lender to pay that mortgage off. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of protection. Title insurance the policy is good forever. So anybody who's got a title insurance policy, hold on to it. Your policy, if you ever would need to be defended, you want your title insurance underwriter. Your title insurance underwriter will defend you if that comes up. So in other words, with our company, if there would have happened to been a problem, somebody calls and says, I think this is going on. I've got this letter. I got this person that's haunting me, telling me this thing or that thing happened. We have a league of attorneys that will work that out on behalf of our client.
So like if somebody buys a house and let's say 10 years later, someone knocks on the door and says, this is really my house. Is that what the title insurance will cover?
It will. Yeah, it will. So we do cover any loss or missing heirs, something that might have been missed, something was overlooked, something that was not discovered at the time of the closing. So there are 20 plus things in the state of Florida that title insurance will protect against. But yes, for sure, because the routine, the regular buyer, I don't mean to downplay who they are, but the normal buyer doesn't know. They don't know what they don't know. They're trusting. They're trusting the realtor that they've chosen. They're trusting the lender they've chosen, the title company they've chosen, and they put their trust in us to all do our jobs. So it is our job, and we take it very seriously to make sure that we're looking at all those moving pieces and make sure that we're making the very best determination to issue that title policy at the end of closing. We issue a title policy at the end of every closing, always at least one that goes to the new buyer, the homeowner. That's the owner's policy. And if it's a cash transaction, that's the end of it. If it's the finance transaction, the lender also will ask for a policy to protect their investment in the home. So we're actually doing two policies, one to the new homeowner and one to the lender.
Anita, how often does that happen?
The policies?
Mm-hmm.
Well, every single closing will at least have one, because we're a title insurance company, so we issue the title insurance policy. That's our product, and that goes to the homeowner. We're seeing more cash transactions now than finance, but on every finance transaction, the lender is smart enough to know that they also need our protection for the investment in the home. So let's say this afternoon, Eileen and Paula go and sell a $300,000 house, and there's a $200,000 mortgage. The new homeowner will get a $300,000 policy, good forever, for their investment in that home. The lender will get a $200,000 policy that policy will decrease in value as the mortgage payments are made, and it's finally extinguished whenever it's either paid off or refinanced. So one of those two things, but yeah, on every single transaction.
How often do you get someone who claims to own a house that really doesn't?
Well, it's come up a couple times in my career where we've had, they say if you've got that gut feeling, it's probably right. Yeah, and we do have the right, by the way, to resign from a transaction, and we have done that in the past. So many years ago, I had an incident where actually a friend and former neighbor of ours was buying a condo, wanted to use us for the title insurance, and the seller, or who said they were the seller, was not too happy about that. When we looked at the records, the gentleman that was on the contract, of course, a for sale by owner, so no representation from a realtor, which everybody listening, use representation of a realtor. They are on your side. So in this case, he found the property himself, and the deal came to us, and it was a woman in title. So we started asking a lot of questions. He started getting very irritated. His story was, it's my mom's property, whatever his story was. And I said, well, that's okay, but we still need to know where mom is, and we need to speak to mom, and I need to find out why you're handling this. And he got very irritated, told my neighbor that you're going to lose the deal because the title company just asked too many questions. So
when actually that's the job of the title company, to ask a lot of questions.
For sure. We need to know who we're dealing with, and we need to know, and it's okay if son is dealing on a transaction for mom, as long as there's proper paperwork and as long as we know what the situation with mom is. So can we speak to mom? Is there a power of attorney? Is that power of attorney durable? So what are we dealing with? And the more information we have up front, the better equipped we are to get across the finish line. So in that particular case, we resigned from the transaction. My neighbor was a little upset with me at first, thought that I was wrecking his deal. And when I explained to him what could happen, which could have been that heir knocking on the door,
Right.
many years later, he said, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And I said, we do a lot of things, but we protect you. Our policy is for you. So he went on and found a different property. So good story there.
Yeah.
Which is why I always bring my buyers to Chelsea Title.
They do a great job.
Well, and she just brought up something too. Anita did mention about the selling without a realtor. I mean, is a commission that big a deal? I mean,
well, when you're talking about your future and the future of your dream home, it's well worth the money spent.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, naturally.
I think
you hire professionals to help you in other parts of life. Why in the world wouldn't you hire a professional realtor to help you with your property?
And probably one of the largest purchases you're going to make in your life as well.
Exactly. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to know that it's safe, that what you're buying is actually going to be yours, that would be a real shock to get down the road and realize that you've been paying this mortgage on something that actually belongs to someone else.
Yeah. That's true. That's mind-boggling. I just can't even imagine that.
Right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So before we go any further, Anita, can you please give our audience your contact information for Chelsea Title?
Sure, I would love to. So you can reach me on my email address, which is my name, Anita, ANITA, .ERRICO -Smith @FNF.com. My cell phone number, if you want to reach me directly, is 772-631-5086.
And is there an office number, like for the Port St. Lucie? It's at St. Lucie West. There's an office, right?
Yes, for sure. So we, Our office number is 772-335-3250. And that's where our staff, our amazing staff, sits and cranks out everybody's business on a normal day over there, keeping it all together, trying to rush. So I think one of you opened up the story talking about trying to get in before the holidays, and this is a tough month because a lot of people are trying to get closed before
the end of the year.
Before the end of the year, they want that homestead.
Wow.
So.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yep.
One quick question, Anita. How long does it normally take to go through that process to get the title clear and ready for closing?
So on a normal without a rush search, it takes about 4 to 5 business days. Everybody is overloaded right now, as you could imagine. We're overloaded along with realtors and lenders and home inspectors and everybody else in our industry. We used to run about 3 to 5 days. We're definitely running 4 to 5 right now. I have a contract that I did an intake on Friday that has to close by the end of the month. Had a quick conversation about it, and as long as everybody is here and there's no outstanding issues, we can get that done on a rush. So we are going to be, it's definitely going to be a little lighting of the fire to make sure that it happens, but we'll order it as a rush if we have a prior policy that helps to expedite our search. And we're doing a lot of things on the back end. So when you send a contract over to us, we are ordering the title search. The title search goes down to one of our title plants and goes through an examiner and a title searcher and a title examiner to produce the title commitment, which is our homework to get your deal to the closing table. In addition to that, we're doing municipal lien searches. We're doing any kind of estoppel information. If there's an HOA, we've got to order that. If there's payoffs, so there's a lot of things that come into play. If it's cash, we have a little quicker turn time because there's no lender to work with. If it's finance, we now have to work with a lender. So we're working back and forth with preliminary numbers, preliminary CDs, balancing of numbers.
That's amazing to think that it only takes 4 or 5 days. I would expect a much longer period of time.
That's just the search.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts, right, Anita? Yeah.
That's the search. I would say that typically in a comfortable world, I would say I would still say allow yourself a 30-day window for closing if you can. There just are some people that just aren't in that position, and they can move a little bit quicker. If it's cash, they can move a little bit quicker. If it's financing, there's a lot of pieces. And the lender goes through a lot of pieces with the CFPB ruling, with the disclosure on the front end, the disclosure on the back end. A lot of those calendar days are eaten up, and the actual working days that a lender may have to work on your client's file might go from 30 days to about 18, which is
significant. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is interesting, and the cash deal aspect. I mean, you mentioned that last week, that there seem to be more and more cash transactions.
There are. In fact, since I have been actively working in the real estate industry in Florida, almost 5 years now, I'd say probably of all my sales, there's only a handful that have used mortgage. Everybody else has been paying cash.
Really?
Yeah. Well, at least in my business, by and large, the majority of the buyers are cash buyers.
Boy, that's amazing. Yeah, and again, are these local people or are they snowbirds?
Some of each.
Okay. Interesting.
I'd say probably about 50% each.
Well, what's interesting, about the title business too is a question for Anita. How much longer does it take, say, if you have a mortgage and it's just like an internet company or an internet bank? How long does that take to handle that transaction?
Well, it depends, Greg. Honestly, it depends because who you work with matters. So I have always been a proponent to work with local people because they're here in our community. They're invested in our community. They're invested with everybody in the transaction, so it works better. However, we can't dictate who a client will use, and if they choose to, that's certainly their right. But as long as we have good communication, like we've had some that honestly will go quite smoothly. If the internet-based company has their policies and their procedures and their workings down pat, it's the same as dealing with somebody locally. If they're a huge internet presence and not necessarily well-versed in Florida, we've got our work cut out for us with them. Florida is a little bit different than some other areas, and we find ourselves educating some lenders who are not necessarily from Florida, they're from somewhere else, and they don't understand what we're talking about on certain things. So we have to educate them as we're going. So, but again, the client has the right to spend their money where they want, with who they want. So we're prepared to handle their transaction, whether it's local or internet-based or in another state.
That's interesting because I just saw some television commercials for this company out of Cincinnati that, is pushing loans.
My hometown.
That's right. That is your hometown.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but, as Anita mentioned, our laws are different down here.
Yes.
And
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is real estate laws are state by state. Like when we are a licensed real estate agent, we are licensed to do business in a particular state. You cannot do business any place in the country you want to with one real estate license. You must be licensed in the state that you are doing business in.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. That's something. I think what really separates you, Anita, is the fact that you guys have the national punch, but you're local.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, indeed. I like to say we have the best of both. My escrow and operations team inside is incredibly passionate about what they do. They take, like I mentioned before, they take the approach that however much time it takes to chat with a client or a customer to go over what's going to happen in the transaction. We do a lot of communication on the front end and throughout the transaction so that they hear from us and they know. And that's so important. So important. We live in a world that's ridden with fraud right now. So if I might just take a quick minute and talk about that, we go through safeguards in our business to chat with the people who we're going to be dealing with because we want them to be aware of what the process looks like. We feel like it's kind of crazy, right? We feel that if we pick up the phone and have the conversation, they hear our voice, they know who we are in advance of getting an email from us, they're going to open that email. They're going to do what we're asking us to do. And the reaction time and the connectivity with our office starts out on the right foot, if that makes sense. So we go through a lot of protocols on the transaction for both buyers and sellers right from the beginning to set up the file, telling them who they're going to be dealing with, telling them what to expect from us, giving them phone numbers and email addresses to get a hold of us. And by the way, a little plug for the real estate contract itself. When that real estate contract is written, the escrow information is on there.
Yes.
And that's
On the front page.
On the front page, vitally important because, again, the general public has heard over and over and over again. They don't, they're a little skeptical about getting a call. They don't know who we are. But if they look at that first page and they know we're the escrow agent, They can see, they can verify the phone number that's coming up. They can see who the person is that's contacted them. It puts their mind at ease. So it's vitally important that that escrow information on the front page of that contract is filled out completely, aside from the fact that both the seller and the buyer deserve to know who's holding their money. So that's the other reason that we have that on the contract.
Absolutely. Anita, if there's one message that you could leave the general public with today, what would that message be?
Well, that's a very good question, Eileen. I would say do your due diligence, ask the questions. If there's something that you're uncomfortable with, if you're a seller and you have your transaction in our office and there's something that you don't understand, ask the question. If you're a buyer and we're asking you for something and you don't understand, ask the question. There is no one in our office that won't take the time and go through all the reasons. We have to remember sometimes, Eileen, we do this every day, all day long for a living, but yet somebody may not understand why we're asking for whatever we're asking for, because we need to get HOA information. We need to get estoppel information. We need to order a survey, whatever the case may be. So I'm a big believer that if you don't understand, ask the question and ask it until you're satisfied.
Correct.
Until you're satisfied. So if it doesn't make sense to you, ask it to. And I also would like to say that communication is key in our business. So we don't like surprises. Occasionally in my career, I've had somebody kind of wait and know something in the background of a transaction and kind of wait to see if we find out as the title company. Well, that doesn't really do anybody any good, because we're going to find out, and we're going to probably find out a day before or hours before we come to that closing table, which then it's,
could delay things.
For sure. So I always say communication is key. If you know it, tell us what you're dealing with. It may not be the roadblock you think it is, but if you have some information up front, communicate that information. Let us help you become a solution for it, rather than it still being bogged down as a problem. I've seen a lot in 27 years. We're in the business of closing title insurance. So we're not looking for a reason not to do it. We're just looking for the best way to get it done.
Excellent.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Do you want to give your contact information again?
Sure. I'm Anita Errico Smith with Chelsea Title here in Port St. Lucie. My phone number is 772-631-5086. That's my cell. Our local office number is 772-335-3250. And you could reach me on my email if you'd like at Anita, ANITA, ERRICO-Smith@FNF.com.
And Chelsea Title does closings all throughout the Treasure Coast and beyond.
We do. So just like you, Eileen, we do closings anywhere in the state of Florida. So this is also important to know for anybody who's locally listening. And if you decide you want to buy an investment property in Orlando or in Gainesville, or you have a son or a daughter that's going off to college and you're buying something for them, we can do that closing for you. So we have sister companies all over the state, or we can send a notary as well. But anywhere that your license allows you to go, my license allows me to go as well. So we do closings throughout the state. We primarily here out of this office, we do Treasure Coast and Palm Beaches. And then Monica Pritchard, who's the branch manager that I mentioned earlier in the show, she also handles a book of commercial business. So we do commercial business as well in this local office. Monica is a Florida barred attorney. She's got you covered on that basis as well. So we can handle your residential, your commercial, your new home construction, your 1031 exchanges, your refinances, anything you've got that you need a title policy on, we are the company for you.
And I think it's important that people understand that you can do remote closings also, with so many people in transit, or buyers in another state or sellers in another state or country, and you can still do those closings.
So we would do either a remote notary if somebody can't physically walk into our office, one of our offices, whether it's an office here or an office somewhere else in the state. We would send a remote notary. And it is important to know, this is another thing that sets us apart. It's going to be a notary that we hire. The reason for that is we have to know the person who's actually performing the closing. We need to know what their capabilities, what their E&O insurance is, and who they are in the transaction. We no longer can just send paperwork off and hope for the best. We have to know that there's somebody invested in that transaction that's going to be second best if it's not an employee at our office. So a remote notary. The other thing that is new this year that took effect in January of this year is something that we refer to as RON. So remote online notarization is different than sending a remote notary to a client. Remote online notarization is a computer signing, digital signing. We have a couple people within our district that are schooled and have done the extra training to be able to do these closings. And if the candidate and the transaction if the transaction is a candidate for it and the person is a candidate for it, we will offer that to them. On a remote online notarization, there is not an extra fee for that. It's still just us doing the notarization with the person on the other end.
Good to
Good
know.
to know.
Yeah, on a cash transaction, of course, anytime any seller is always going to need a notary because the deed is a notarized instrument. So the seller's always going to need a notary. On a cash transaction, on the buyer side, the buyer needs no notary, so we don't have to worry about that. If there's a lender, obviously they need a notary because the mortgage documents are also notarized.
Okay.
Anita, we really appreciate your time today. Thank you for being available, and we want to wish you, because I probably won't see you before, wish you a very happy holiday season and happy new year. Paula has a couple of featured listings that we're going to go through today before we run out of time.
I think Chelsea Title might handle never mind.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the great information, Anita. What a great...
Yeah, she was great. She
Yes.
Learn a lot. Yeah, thank you so much.
So what about those listings?
Well, we have a listing in the Sawgrass Lakes area. It's a beautiful new construction home, cinder block home. It's a 322 with a living square footage of 1,864 square feet and a total square footage of 2,342 square feet. It's a brand new build with impact windows, a beautiful lake view. What else was going to
So that would be out by Treasure Coast High School, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
area. Very pretty area, very convenient
Know
to
it well, yeah.
95 and the turnpike and that kind of thing. So beautiful home. If it's brand new, no one's lived in it. If you need to get some more information, just please give us a call. Our at Florida Club Homes, our number is 722-463-6383, and we'd be glad to help you with any other information that you need or getting you in to see the house. Have a great day.
That's great.
So just to give you our contact information, our office is a branch office for EXP Realty. We are located in the Florida Club, which is just west of I-95 off of Canner Highway. Open to the public. That is a public golf course, so our office is right across the street from the golf course. Address 9014 Southwest Old Royal Drive in Stewart. Office phone number 772-463-6383. if you have suggestions for something you'd like to hear discussed on the show, and you can always send us an email to mydreamhometeam@yahoo.com. We are brokered by EXP Realty and here to answer any of the questions you have or help any buyers or sellers or investors.
That sounds great. Yeah. Do you at least get some free golf down there?
I do not.
You don't sneak across the street?
No.
Oh, come on. What's wrong with you?
Actually, as much as I
You're
would
too
like
busy,
to, I
right?
can't play golf. So I have back issues. So golf and I don't get along very well.
I was going to say you have to know how before you can play. So
But we get to watch all the time because the practice areas are basically around our office.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Merry Christmas to you guys, and let's see. Will we see you
Next Monday. Yes,
next
we
Monday?
will.
All right. Sounds great. Well, boy, I'll tell you, my dream home here on both WPSL and WSTU.
Thanks,
See-
Greg.
see-
Happy holidays to everyone.
happy happy holidays.
Eileen Simons, Paula Brady, and my dream home right here on WPSL, Port St. Lucie, Talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world, and on WSTU, Martin County's Heritage Station since 1954.